Hello. May I know what is computer language? May I know what is computer language? Anybody? Hello. Hello. Can you answer? Shruti?
May I, ma'am?
Just a
Uh,
set of
what is
instructions that
computer language?
is a set of
The language which gives instructions to the computer.
Instructions to the computer.
computer language are
Communicating with computer.
given to computer to perform a particular task from it.
Um, Maybe you're telling the process. Okay, fine. Let it be. I will accept it. But I would like to tell what is a computer language means. Computer language is nothing but which understands
Which
its own language.
understands its own language.
That its own language is
That
nothing but
its own language. Na
is
lalo
nothing.
may dun ko na.
I think echoing.
I think it's
Hello. Computer language is its own understandable language. Jagdala sir. Okay, let us come back. So that is how the computer language is which understands zeros and ones. So here you need to, the prerequisite of the subject is you required to have the students should know the knowledge about the data structures, computer organization and microprocessors and some advanced concept of languages. Some C advanced languages. That means C, C++ or any other higher languages. So you need to know all this to understand about the subject. Any student can tell what is data structures. Can you, Kulkarni, Gauri? Gauri is there? Gauri is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Gauri, can you tell what are the data structures?
Data structure is a data organization.
Okay, I will give you a simple example. That is not the means. Okay, I will accept it. Your energy and sportively which you are answering. Data structure is nothing but an something like example shall I give? It's a homogeneous collections. So who does the homogeneous collections? That is, I mean arrays, stacks, queue. These are nothing but the data structure. So further, in memory storage, we require the arrangement of stacks. So how the stack builds the relocation of a program into the memory. That time we require. So that's what a prerequisite of the subject it is required to know. Students should know about the data structures, also something computer organization. Here, why something like computer organization? Because we are studying system programming. In system programming, how is a computer processes? It has got input, processor, and output. The processor processes. What does it processes? Whatever the inputs we are giving to the system, it processes it into again high level language. Say for example, if you are doing any form filling, if you are filling any form, if a bank form itself, or if you have applied some government jobs, there you are filling your name, your father name, everything. So whatever you are doing, no, whatever you are filling the form through your keyboards, from your keyboard, that is nothing but the input, and you are texting them. That text is nothing but called as high level language. The text like name, your father name, you whatever the account number you're giving. So all these, whatever in the real world entity we are understanding, no, that is called as the our own language. That our own language is nothing but a natural language. That natural language is called as a high level language. All of you cleared? Yes, Kachare Priya. Priya is there? Kachare Priya. Prashant, Priya Prashant. I hope absent. Diksha.
Yes, ma'am.
Diksha is there.
Yes, ma'am.
Diksha, what I said, if you want to fill any form, that form you need to have some input. That input you are filling through a keyboard. That keyboard arranges you to do some text like your name and your name for the whatever the information. Maybe if you are filling some bank details, so account number, everything you are filling. So whatever we are doing, this all work, it is our understandable language. So that our understandable language, it should be understood by the computer. It should be understood by the computer. But computer doesn't understand the high level language. Computer doesn't understand our
Yes,
language.
ma'am.
So computer wanted its own language. What is its own language? Just now I have told 0 and 1. It understands in zeros and ones. But
Yeah.
user cannot give in zeros and ones. Do you agree? Do user is giving in
Yes,
0 and
ma'am.
1 any information to the computer? No. User is not giving in zeros and ones. User is giving in his language. What is his language? English like language. And nowadays we are having so many translations. We are having so many translation apps. It is giving in either Hindi, your own language, Marathi, or my own language, or any other different languages. So all these languages are called as high level languages, and these high level languages are nothing but the natural languages. But computer does not take the high level language. Computer only understands zeros and one. But how it is doing? We are working in high level language. Sorry, anyhow we are giving to the computer always high level language only. How we are giving always to the computer high level language only. So for computer we are giving always, but that is how it processes the language. What is the first chapter? It processes the language. So how does it processes the language? In its language. In its language is nothing but zeros and ones. And later uh, again we are getting in high level language only answer. Is there Aparna? Aparna
Yes,
is
ma'am.
there?
Yes, ma'am.
Subhash Aparna.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, Subhash Aparna. I was saying about the computer language. So whatever we are you're telling, yes ma'am, all these things, these all are nothing but what? Natural languages, and these all are nothing but the high level languages. Computer takes all this high level language and processes them into low level language in its machine, and later again it gives us the high level language only. Is it giving us the answer in 0 and 1? Sneha, Sneha, is it giving answer for us answer in 0 and 1? Yes.
It converts high level language into machine level language in zeros and
Huh.
ones. And
Huh.
then
Huh. Lohakare Sneha. Is there Lohakare Sneha?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh.
Yes, ma'am. Present.
Okay, okay. Is it giving us in 0 and 1 only answer for us? Output are we seeing in 0 and 1?
no, in high level language.
No. Whatever user wanted the expected answers, it is giving an expected answer only, no, based on the logic of the program. Based on the logic of the program, it is giving us the expected answers only, or expected output results, what we wanted based on the requirement. So it accepts the high level language and not converts, it translates or processes it into machine language, and later again it gives us the high level language. Later again it gives us the converted high level language. This is what language process. Okay. And I feel for all these, computer organization is useful because input, processes, and output, and so many different drivers and controllers are there, which is helping for the processing of the language. Therefore, in prerequisite of the subject to study this, you require a knowledge of data structure, you require a knowledge of computer organization and also microprocessor, because to understand about the RAM, memory locations, that I will tell you further in loaders and linkers, and further chapters like assemblers are there. There we shall understand about the microprocessors and languages you need to know. So languages anyhow you people know. C language you know, microprocessor you know. I hope C++ also you know. There in that you have studied the data structures also. Hope. Shall I move on to the next objective of the subject? Yes. Shall I move on to the next? Yes, Mayuri, shall I move on? Mayuri?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayuri? Mayuri?
Yes,
Shall I move
ma'am.
on to the subject?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Understanding, Mayuri? Mayuri, understanding?
Yes, ma'am. It is understood.
Understanding,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you. Because there should be something interactive sessions, because we are not seeing each other. That's what I wanted the reply answers from you all. Okay. Now, objective of the subject. I think I have told little bit the objective, but let us read out here what is the objective. Can anybody read? Can anybody read the objective of the subject which I have screened? Can anybody read objective of the subject? Yes, Mayuri? Mayuri? Can you
Yes,
read the
ma'am.
objective of the subject?
Okay. So first objective is to learn and understand fundamentals
Yeah,
of system software programs as assemblers, microprocessor,
yeah,
linkers, and
very correct.
loaders.
Okay, thank you. The second objective I'll read out, to design and develop various system software programs. Now, various system software programs are nothing but nowadays all software engineers are interested in developing the applications. Like so many applications are coming in this lockdown also. So these all applications are because of the language processing or because of the high level language processing. And we construct any software based on the language only. This thing you should have in mind, all of you. Yes, whatever the applications are coming in the latest, or whatever the applications, existing applications are there, this is all because of the languages. How does it processes? And we are just building to our own convenience way what the user wanted to fulfill our task. So that is nothing but an application software. So broadly, a system software is divided into two categories, that is system software and application software. Can anybody tell system software examples? I was been telling so many number of times. System software examples. Rajkumar, Sanskruti Rajkumar, Paitwar,
Yes, ma'am.
Sanskruti Rajkumar is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you tell the classification of the
Can you
system
tell the
software?
classification of the system software?
Yes.
Yes. Operating system, computer organizations. Hello?
Yeah, I'm getting. Tell.
I'm getting. Tell. Operating systems, device drivers.
Oh, very correct. Very correct. You are somewhat bit, but there are only, see. One thing I want to tell all to the class. There are only two classification of a system software. See, broadly, whatever may be the computing development of a software. Today, nowadays, we are developing so many softwares. This is all because of system softwares only. That system software has got two classifications. One is system software classification and another one is application software. What is two classifications are there? A system has got two classifications, or a program has got two type of programs. One is system software programs, the other one is application programs. System software programs are loaders, linkers, compilers, assemblers, interpreters, and device drivers, and many more like that, as you said. Like computer organization, no, it is nothing but a structure here we are telling. But computer organization, it's a structure. It's a structure we are understanding. It's a combination of hardware and software. But here, no, we are studying about system software. So you need to know all. Now in today's class, you need to know about what is a system software. System software is a collection of programs. What are the collection of programs? That is application program and system software program. In system software program, we have what compilers, assemblers, loaders, linkers, and interpreters. Many more are there, and as well as the device drivers. But in application software, no, like Paint, MS Office, and any other applications, games, all these, and editors, all these are called as what? Applications. Getting
Yes,
getting
ma'am.
all these are called as applications. Now, what is a computer language? What is a computer language? What is a computer language? No answer. Gauri, Dattatray. Gauri,
Yes, ma'am.
Gauri Dattatray is there.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
What is a computer language now? So far, what I have told. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Low level language, computer understanding.
That low level language is nothing but 0 and 1. Computer language, it understands
Yes.
0 and 1. Broadly, there are classification of languages. That is two types of classification: high level and low level language. But computer understands machine level language. That is 0 and 1. Of course, 0 and 1 is also called as low level language, but we should not tell like that low level language, because low level languages are A, B. High level languages are C language, Java language, C++. Getting?
Okay.
For computer language, we should tell as computer language is a language which understands the zeros and ones. So what I am trying to tell here is any language can be your language, Marathi language, my language, English language, any international languages. Any languages are treated as high level languages here. All the languages are treated here as high level languages. So every n number of if we have 27 states in India, so it's 27 states has got different 27 their own languages. All these languages are treated to be as or called as natural languages. So today we are seeing their own application, no, in the internet and all. They can, if we send any message, they are getting transferred in their own language. Do you agree or not? How is this? This is all because of language processing. Because a common machine is there, whatever may be the language, it processes that into its own language, that is machine language 0 and 1. For this processing, we require compiler, loader, linkers. We require. Getting? So, the objective of the subject is to learn and understand the fundamentals of the system software as assemblers, microprocessors, linkers, and loaders. To design and develop various system programs, various system software programs, and also to acquire the skills of language processors. Now I have told now various 27 languages how we can process those various 27 languages in their own language. Now the outcome of this subject, what we will be able to do when we study such a subject. What is the grip of a subject? How many chapters you have? Gauri? Dattatreya? Dipti?
Yes.
I want the answer from Dipti. Dipti is there? Dipti, roll number 32.
Yes, ma'am.
Dipti, I want to
Yes,
know.
ma'am.
I want to know, Dipti. Hello, Dipti.
What, ma'am?
Yeah.
Hello.
I want to know from you, how many languages are there?
C language, C++, Java, assembler language.
What is assembler language? We have only two types of language. That is nothing but low level and high level.
High level.
Yeah.
Assembler is
Whatever.
low level language.
Very good. Okay. Thank you. So the objective of the subject, the students will be able to identify the requirements of the different system softwares for execution of application software, design and implement of various system programs. Assemblers they will implement in their own languages, because based on their language they need to implement their own compilers. Now, have you ever heard C itself has got its own compiler? C itself, C language is a type of a language. It has got its own compiler. And Java is a type of a language. It has got its own compiler. So if you want your Marathi language to be known to the system, means Marathi compiler is required, so that it converts your Marathi language into 0 and 1, and later that 0 and 1 after conversion or after processing, whatever the question you have asked, it makes that conversion into 0 and 1, and after 0 and 1 it processes the answer into going into CPU, that is central processing unit. It goes into central processing. Actually central processing unit is used for arithmetic. All arithmetics performance it does. If you are asking any questions related with the arithmetic, so it performs there. So if you are asking any questions related with yes or no, in that way it processes that into other than arithmetic, means ALU. Other than ALU, it goes into the memory and processes that and gives you the output. So this is how it processes, and that output again it shows you in your Marathi language. This is how processing. Now if I want to work in C language, means C also should have its own compiler. Have you ever heard the Borland? I want to ask this for Dipti. Dipti Bankar. Dipti is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Dipti,
Yes,
have
ma'am.
you ever heard
Hello.
Borland?
Yes, I heard, but I haven't used it.
Turbo C. Turbo is nothing but a compiler.
Yes.
Now C is nothing but a language. Any
Yes, ma'am.
language developer, what he does, they will develop their own compilers. That is called as a program. What they will do, they will develop their own programs. Now Java, if a Java developer has done some language and given to you to do your own applications,
Using Java language now, we are doing our own applications. Like it can be games, it can be any apps, it can be anything. But the person who has developed the Java language, what they have done now, they have installed or in it its own compiler. This compiler, no, it processes the Java language and converts it into 0 and 1 byte code, and later it gives you the high level language. Every machine does the same. Here, machine in the sense compilers. Machine in the sense computer language processor. Machine in the sense here compiler are the processors. So here what it does means any language which is given, it compiles and translate it into assembly. That is nothing but assembly program, which is nothing but a 0 and 1, 0 and 1. Now you should not be confused. Ma'am, you are telling about 0 and 1 is a computer language. Again, you are applying the same word to assembly also. Here actually assembly is nothing but also a low level language, which is nothing but constructed in mnemonic. Now mnemonic is nothing but something by hearting words like add, sub, mul, divide. More than this, if you want to do any task, that you need to go to high level language. That you need to go to the high level language. Here, let me not tell about deep into the language. Why? Because just a brief of a language I have to take, and I have to tell you about the how it does processing into the machine. And later, what it gives you. During this time, processing time, it has to do several activities. What that several activities it does means it compiles, it gives you an error, then later it translates into machine code, that is using the assembler, and after assembler also it generates that machine code is nothing but a object code, and after generating a object code, this has to be given to the linker. All various parts of the program together it links and executes. It prepares an executable file, and this executable file should go to the memory. How it will go to the memory means using loaders. So these are the processing activities. These are nothing but the processing activities. Now let us tell. So I hope I have given you the brief central idea of the subject. Now let me tell deep into the first chapter, that is uh, syllabus. The language processor, yeah, it has got something like this. You need to know about introduction of the language, then processing activities, fundamentals of the language processing, then fundamentals of languages, specification of language, then processor development tools, and that is the language processor development tools, and even you need to understand about Unix programming. Like in Unix programming, you have a tools called as Lex and Yak. They also do the processing. Lex and Yak is also languages. They are nothing but the compilers. Lex is a scanner. Yak is a compiler. Lex is a scanner. Yak is a compiler. So they themselves are already having built-in compilers. So they using these compilers, we also perform some sample examples using that. So it itself has got how does it communicate to the console screen using the parser lecture communication, and you need to know about the parts of speech of the lecture and the Yak parser, the rule section of the Yak, and running the Lex program and Yak program on the Unix platform. So for this, you are not directly getting into the lab session. Before going to the lab session of this part of the Unix, in Unix, we need to study about the Lex and Yak. Lex and Yak are nothing but a compiler. One is the scanner. Scanner, after scanning, it does the compilation. It does the compilation. So compilation in another meaning, we also tell it as Yak.
Yak is also nothing but a parser. Parser is also nothing but a compiler. Okay. So that is of the first chapter. First chapter, it is consists of 8 hours. I hope I have told you about the brief introduction about the first chapter. Dipti, I think Dipti is there. Then Aishwarya is there.
Yes, ma'am.
Aishwarya Dilip, can you tell me now what is language? A language can be a low level language or high level language. Your Marathi language is called as a high level language. But usually all the languages are nothing but a natural language. We treat them under the natural language. Because if a baby says something, we don't understand. So her conversion knows only in her mind, baby's conversion. That mind is nothing but process. Mind is nothing but the processor. So processes that and gives you again later high level language. So to do this, we have so many processing activities. So what are those processing activities I have told? Compiler, loader, linker. Compiler compiles and it assembles, means processes or translates into 0 and 1. That 0 and 1 is called as object code, and the object code is a file that should be ready to link. Now link gives an executable file, and this executable file should be loaded into the memory for its output. So who will take to the memory? The executable file has to go to the memory to show the output. So who will take? A loader is a software or is a program. So all these we are calling them as the programs. Assemblers, loaders, linkers, and compilers are called as the programs. They are the big program. They are helping activities. What they are? Aishwarya, what they are? Assembler, loader, linkers are nothing but the system programs.
Helping activity.
Aishwarya, Dilip,
Yes, ma'am.
what are assembler, loader, linker?
They are helping.
Yeah. They are helping activities, or they are. I told in general understanding language, but there is a particular word that is called as translators, or it is also called as processors. What it is?
Processor.
Processors or translators. Getting who are translators? What are translators? Which translates the natural language in its machine language. Which translates the natural language in machine language. Translators are, we have broadly translators, compilers, assemblers, loaders, and linkers. These translators are also nothing but processors. These translators are nothing but the activities, and this activity we call it as a processor. Anisha is there? Anisha, absent. Giteshwari is there? Absent. Monali is not responding. Mayuri, Monali is there? Mayuri?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay. Thank you. Your friend Monali is there? Anisha is there? Giteshwari is there?
Hello, ma'am. I'm Giteshwari. I'm here.
Okay. Are you listening? Okay, let me move on. So this was the brief about the language processor, and I hope I have given you the full subject idea also. Mayuri, did you got the concept? Any questions? Any questions?
No, ma'am.
I will tell you something. A brief idea of the subject. Can you note down all the students?
Can you note down? Mayuri, can you write it down? Mayuri? Hello? Siddhi Balaji? Siddhi Balaji, boys? Boys are there?
Yes, ma'am, we are here.
Balaji is here. May I know your name? Balaji, may I know your name? Yes, any boys? Please, you're not answering. Yes, anybody, please answer. Can you answer? Balaji is absent, right? Aishwarya Dattatre. Aishwarya Dattatre. Aishwarya Dattatre. Okay, fine. We'll move on to the next. I hope all of you are listening to the class. Rashika. Rashika is there? Mayuri, are you responding to me? Mayuri?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, fine. Now the outcome of the language processor is the student should have a broad understanding of the field of language processing, and student will be able to have the sense of capabilities and limitations of the current language technologies, some of the algorithms and technologies, and that are underlying these technologies. Rasika, Akhilesh, Rasika, Akhilesh. So why language processing? Rasika, Akhilesh is there. Yes, I'm not getting any answer. Please note down. I will tell you a brief idea about the introduction of the system programming of the first chapter. As a natural language, are you noting down? Yes, Mayuri?
Yes, ma'am, we are taking.
Okay, thank you. Language processing. Why language processing? The language processing activities arise due to the difference between the manner in which a software designer describes the idea concerning the behavior of the software and the manner in which
and the manner in which these ideas are implemented in the computer. The designer expresses the ideas in terms related to the application domain of the software. To implement these ideas, their description has to be interpreted in terms related to the execution domain. I hope you can read the slide also here. The same slide I have read. And if you want, you can note it down. So, there is a bridge or there is a gap between between the application domain and the execution domain. Now, what is the application domain? Application domain is nothing but what the user wanted and how it will execute. So between this, what should be there? There should be a processing activity, which we call it as the semantic gap. What it is? Semantic gap. The term semantic, I hope you all know what is semantic. Anybody? Anybody? What is semantic? Villapure, Rasika is there? Yes, Villapure, Rasika is there? The semantic is nothing but a meaning which generates a proper meaning. Sanika Ramesh? Sanika Ramesh?
Yes, ma'am.
Sanika Ramesh. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Semantic. Okay. Are you seeing the screen? Semantic gap is nothing but something like which generates the meaning between the application and execution domain. So whatever we wanted, the user requirement, based on that the user requirement, the computer should give us the output. So this, how does it gives? There is a gap between application domain and execution domain. What is that gap means? Meaningful gap, that is semantic gap. Semantic it itself is nothing but a meaning, generating a proper meaning. How does it does? If I tell to the computer, give me the output of 3 plus 2. So either it is giving 3 plus 2 as 5 or 6. How it is giving? How it is giving, that is based on the logic of the program and with the help of the ALU. That is arithmetic and logical unit. So based on that logical, that generating a proper sense, that is nothing but a semantic gap. That is called as the semantic gap. The term semantic to represent the rules of the meaning. Here I have written the rules of the meaning of domain, and the term semantic gap to represent difference between the semantic of two domains. Semantic of two domains. Now let me tell you, move on to the next slide. Very vast in semantic gap. This semantic gap has got many consequences. Some of the important are large development times and large development effort and very poor quality softwares. Sometimes we won't be able to give the proper output. So we keep trying. So what we do? So we keep trying. So that keep trying is nothing but the latest, the newer inventions or the newer uh, uh, developing of the languages. So earlier we used to do using C, then C++, then to do any applications, apps development means we are doing using, earlier we used to do using the Java, nowadays we are doing using Python language. So these are nothing but the changes. These are nothing but the changes what we can see. So there are the large developments, so large effort are there. So these large developments and large efforts, they make the changes in the applications, they make changes. So what we wanted today, everything we want to be easy. For that reason, we keep trying everything. We want the information to be at our fingertip. See, today I am taking you the class. This is all because of networking communication. And in networking communication, maybe to do that networking softwares, I might have used, or the developer might have used the C++ or some C hash. So all these strong.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
any doubt? Sonali, some
Ma'am, your screen is not visible.
Hello, ma'am. If it is
okay,
not visible.
now
No, ma'am. Please present it because it's not there from last 15 minutes, I guess.
screen is not visible.
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am. You are not presenting it. No.
Now you are not. Now I am not presenting.
No, ma'am. You are not presenting.
1 second. Maybe it got disconnected.
Yeah,
1
maybe.
second. Then you should have told no. Now.
No, ma'am.
Now.
Yeah, ma'am. Now it's visible.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Now
Yeah, you should
you
be very
present, ma'am.
interested.
You present. Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
visible.
Thank you for your advice. You should have told 15 minutes means I wasted like that only. You should have told.
Yeah, ma'am. But you check that chats sometimes, cause we sometimes type there and you are not seeing that, so we are not.
No. Chat, why I didn't see? I was in continuation of the points. That's what I didn't see. Okay. Thank you. Now you can you see? Hello? Mayuri?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible.
Okay, Mayuri, you should have told me, na? Screen is not visible. Okay, let it be. We'll go on to the next. Now, are you seeing the bridging gap here between the application domain and the execution domain? Is that Sonali? Are you seeing the bridging gap between application domain and execution domain? Sonali is absent.
Next, Kajal. Kajal is there. Kajal, please respond. Kajal is there. Yes, Kajal. Kajal is also absent. Next, Geeta. Can you see the gap, which is a gap of semantic gap, and this semantic gap is between the application domain and execution domain. The term application, I have told you what does it mean. Sorry, the term semantic, I have told you what does it mean. The semantic gap, in the sense, it is generating a proper meaning, which will generate you a proper meaning between your input and the execution, between your application domain and input. Now, there are the large developments are there, and large time is there to take on the developments. So that's what we are moving to the next higher versions of the languages. So as we are moving, because of the large time and large effort, we have got two types of gaps, that is specification gap and execution gap. The specification gap is between the application domain and program domain, and the execution gap is between the program domain and execution domain. So these two gaps has to be fulfilled. So that fulfillment is because of the any machine which is having its own compiler. So I will tell you now. SE has got its own compiler. Java also has got its own compiler. Means C language, the compiler called as Turbo C. Are you getting what it is called as? Turbo C. So Turbo C, like Kulvar Geeta Srinivas. Geeta Srinivas is there? Absent. Then Jagat Sanyogita. Jagat Sanyogita is there? Madan? Mayuri? Dhaval Sang?
Yes, ma'am.
Bhakti? Bhakti? Bhakti is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, are you
Yes,
listening to
ma'am.
the class, Bhakti? So the software development team has identified the two gaps, that is specification gap and execution gaps. So these two gaps has to be fulfilled using the language processors. So the language processor is a software which bridge a specification or a execution gap. Are you noting at least this? What is a language processor? A language process, in a simple language, a language processor which processes the high level language and converts it into machine language but according to the development resource processor, deep into that, a processor is a software which bridge a specification or a execution gap. Which bridges what? Which bridges a specification and execution gap. From specification is called as the from the source language to the execution language. What we require? We require processor. What we require? Bhakti? What we require? Chavan Preeti? Chavan Preeti is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tajmin? Okay. A language processor which bridges the gap between the specification and execution gap. So those gaps are fulfilled using the language translators, D-translators, preprocessors, and language migrator. All these are nothing but the software programs. But these software programs, broadly, we are studying them into a translator, a processor. What we are studying? A translator or a processor. Now here, translator is nothing but a processor. D-translator is nothing but, again, reversing back to high-level language. See, if you say as hi for me, from your desk, if you say as hi for me, hi is nothing but a English-like term, and that English-like term, it processes from the computer. Computer also has got its own compiler, and from that compiler, because hi is a natural language or hi is a high level language, again I can see hi only. Can I see 0 and 1? Am I seeing 0 and 1? Mayuri? Tajmin? Bhagwan Tajmin? Asapuri Radhika? Radhika? Okay. Can I see 0 and 1 on a computer as the output if you send me as a hi?
No, ma'am.
Yeah. Very good. I can see only what you have sent. But there it takes a time. That time is nothing but the networking gap. But we are not talking anything about the networking. We are here talking only about the system programming, about the language. Now language, your text is nothing but a language. That is nothing but a natural language. Whatever you are doing, you are processing into the system. You're telling the
same language to be processed by the computer, and after processing what you wanted this message to be sent to some other person. So that some other person sending is because of the networking. Is because that networking part and all we are not relating here. We are only studying only the natural language, how does it processes. So here I have highlighted the terms like a language translator, detranslator, preprocessor, and language migrator. Preprocessor, now you came to know language translator, which is nothing but a processor. Now detranslator is nothing but, again it detranslates the zeros and ones to high level language. Getting? Jitendra? Bagal Jitendra is there? Boy.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, first time I have heard now a boy voice. You people are not interactive. Okay. Is there, sorry, Jitendra, have you understood? Detranslator means what? I am highlighting here on the screen. Are you seeing? Are you seeing?
Yes, ma'am. I'm seeing.
Yeah, thank you. Detranslator means what? Language translators are what? Language translators are processors. Language processors. Now processors, I told you so many examples, compilers, loaders, linkers, and assemblers. Okay, these are translators. Detranslator is nothing but, again the same processing activities will be reversed back. If you send me a hi, I can see hi only. But inside a computer, that computer processor is there, no? That processor, it understands in zeros and ones. Are you getting? Jitendra?
Yes, ma'am. I'm getting.
Okay. Detranslator is nothing but, after sending me a hi, I can see hi only. Why? Because from your input to computer, it processes in 0 and 1. Hi will be converted in 0 and 1. After 0 and, I am not seeing only 0 and 1. I am seeing hi only. As you have sent me the text, I am seeing only hi. Why? Because this is a detranslator. Means it again uses the same processor to send me back as a hi only. Again it converts back to high level language. That means natural language, that means high level language to machine language to high level language. Are you understanding? A language translator is translating a high level language to machine language. Detranslator is nothing but from machine language to again high level language. Now what is preprocessor here? Preprocessor is an input for a compiler. Getting? What is preprocessor? Preprocessor is an input to the compiler. Are you getting? Yes. Preprocessor is an input to the compiler. Is there Ashruba Lahu? Ashruba Lahu. Bhore Ashruba Lahu. Can you answer? Mayuri, are you noting down preprocessor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is preprocessor? I have not shown you the definition, but I am telling verbally. Note down the definition of preprocessor. Please, all of you note down. Only Mayuri is responding. Preprocessor is a input for a compiler. It deals with macro processing. It deals with macro processing, augmentation, file inclusion, and language extension. And language extension. Did you got? Next, language migrator. Language migratory is nothing but based on your language. I will shift from one language to another language. Say, for example, in the last previous semester, we all have studied about C, C++. Now, assume that you people are studying from high-level language, that is Java. All these are high-level language only. C, C++, and Java. All these are what? High-level languages. Yes? All these are said to be as high-level language. Now, who is low-level language? AB. A computer language 0 and 1, which is also a lower level language. A is nothing but assembler type of the languages which understands mnemonic words. Okay. Let me move on to the example. See how we are migrating from C++ program. Assume that C++ program, if it is having any errors, so it has got its own compiler, that is the C compiler. And C++ also has got its own translator, that is its own compiler, Borland, and converts it into machine language. Are you seeing the screen? And converts it into machine language. Okay. They themselves have, what is this error? Error means if a program, if a language is having any error, the compiler checks that error and builds for executable file. After checking the error, it generates a 0 and 1 file. That 0 and 1 file is called as object program or object file. That object file later further it is translated to executable file using the linker. And that executable file again later it is translated to memory, that is RAM, using the loaders. This itself is a big concept of system software. How I have given you the system software concept? Can anybody tell? Yes. Now, interpreter. Next is, interpreter is also a system program. I was been telling you only about the assemblers, loaders, linkers, compilers. Let me go back to compiler only. Interpreter is also same as compiler. Bhosle Chaitanya. Bhosle Chaitanya. Yes, Bhosle Chaitanya. Is there Bhosle Chaitanya? Interpreter is also a language processor. I think you are not answering, so I will mark it as absent. Bhosle Chaitanya. Prasad Ramachandra. Absent. I think almost all girls have logged on to the session. Okay, interpreter is also same like compiler, but compiler does all the compilation at a time, but interpreter does line by line compilation. One line, interpret and go back, find out the errors, check those errors and go back. Again, find out the second line, take for the executing for the second line. If any errors are there, check those errors and again go back. So that is how it does as compiler only. Compiler also checks for errors. Interpreter also checks for errors. These are the two big programs. In most of the languages, compiler and interpreters will be there. But in some languages, only compiler will be there, not the interpreter. Okay. In C language, we don't have interpreter, but in Java, we have Java acts as a compiler also and interpreter also. That is one example which I am giving you. Now here, the programming language domain and the execution between this, we have the interpreter domain gap, means line by line execution. So that much importance we shall not give for the interpreter because interpreter is studied along with the compiler only and it is made similar understanding as of the interpreter. So what we have as the other tools, preprocessor, interpreter, assemblers, linkers, loaders, and we are loading them into the memory. Okay. Now, problem-oriented languages. Who are the problem-oriented languages? Three consequences of the semantic gaps are there. The fact of the consequence of specification gap, that is classical programming language. The classical solution is to develop a programming language that the programming language domain is very close to the identical to the application domain. Of course, all the programming languages are used for doing the applications program, So this also bridges the gap of the specification gap and execution gap. So a procedure-oriented language provides the general purpose facilities that is required in most applications domain. And I think I have completed the 1.1 session of the language introduction, processing introduction. So in the next class, we'll be studying about the language processing activities. Before that, let me ask you some few questions. You can keep your devices unmuted. Okay, if you have any questions, you can ask me one by one. Any questions? Let me complete the attendance. Is there Rutvija?
Yes, madam, I'm there.
Rutvija is there?
Rutvij, madam, it's Rutvij.
It's Rutvij, madam.
I am present.
Yeah. Rutvij is there?
Yes, madam, present.
Thank you. Pratik, Subhash, Deshpande.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
Thank you. I hope you are listening right from the beginning. You are
Yes,
there
ma'am.
from the beginning?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there.
Thank you. Ashutosh, Atul?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yogesh, Bhaskar?
Yes, ma'am.
Then
Yes, ma'am.
Prashant, Jagannath?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mukund,
Yes, ma'am.
Subhash?
Yes, ma'am.
Mukund, thank you. Prashant, Mahade? Prashant Mahade is there? Then Madhur, Naveen, Amol is there? Madhur, Naveen. Malik, Kiran, absent. Okay. Malik, Abhishek.
Present, ma'am.
Thank you. Did you listen to the class?
Yes,
Hear
ma'am.
the class?
Yes, ma'am.
You have any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Have you understood? Because it was a first session.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am. I have heard from the beginning.
Okay. Then you might have got all the full points about the 1.1 session, which is of the language processor. In the next class, I'll be telling about 1.2, that is language processing activities. And let me give some few 2-3 minutes for clearing your doubts. If you have any doubts, you can tell me. So we shall wind up. Still, there are some attendances. Vivek is there? Vivek?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Onkar is there, or Onkar? Kulkarni Onkar. Vilas Rao. I hope absent. Vishwajit?
Yes, present, ma'am.
Pranesh, Prakash?
Yes, ma'am, present.
Gaurav?
Present, ma'am.
Saurabh? Pratik?
Present, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay. I hope I have completed the timing of the session. You might be having the next session. I hope if you have any doubt, you can please ask me any doubt now or tomorrow also, in the next class also. I don't think tomorrow we have a class. We shall meet again on Thursday. So in Thursday's class, I may revise you, and I may give you some assignments. Not now, in the further classes. And still, have you understood all? Unmute yourself, please. Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am,
Is
but
there
I have one doubt.
doubt?
Hello? Yeah. Shall we make notes bit by bit, or you provide us notes?
Okay. This was bit by bit only. Well, it was all about the first part. That was introduction 1.1. In introduction, we need to know only the bridging gaps, like semantic gap between the application and the execution program. Okay.
Okay. Ma'am, please, shall you send syllabus of the SP on our group?
Okay, no problem. I'll send. Any other?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks. Have you understood all? Any other students? Hello? Okay, shall we wind up? Shall we wind up?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all.